Hello, Steven Universe fans, and welcome to another episode of the AFTERBUZZ TV Steven Universe After Show. We are covering episodes 107 through 109, and we will see you after the opening.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I think we're just gonna sit here and cry for a while. I feel like that's a good way to start the show.
Oh, just breathe.
Just breathe.
Inhale, exhale. Not gonna lie though, this song has relaxed me more than any given like yoga class or any attempt at. Yeah, no, just this is such a chill, but still very deep song.
Well, Rebecca Sugar tweeted that she wrote it while she was, I believe, dealing with an anxiety attack.
That makes sense.
Something like that. So yeah, that is definitely a thing. Welcome back to the Steven Universe After Show. Hello everyone. We are here. We are doing the thing. We are looking at episodes 107 through 109, Buddy's Book, Mindful Education, and Future Boy Zoltron, which is really screwing me up because the Voltron After Show is after this, and I'm like, wait a minute. We are one letter off and my brain is not here.
I was gonna say there's Zarkon, there's Zoltan, and and I'm trying to remember what the robot's name was in Big. If it might have been Zoltar.
I feel like it was Zoltar or something
I think it was Zoltar for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously that's kind of what the reference is in terms of like, it's a good thing Steven didn't wish he was a robot.
That would have
I wish I were big, even though I can just shapeshift, and so wishing that would be irrelevant for me.
It's just like, oh, honey, no. I have with me the wonderful Megan Salinas.
Hey, everybody. You guys can tweet at me at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. We have the hashtag ABTVSU. We have the live chat. That'll be up in a few minutes. So if you have something fun to say, throw it in the hashtag, throw it in the live chat. We are short one Emma Fife tonight. She's at Salt Lake Comic Con. So if you guys are going to that this weekend, go say hi. I think she has a panel.
She's got, I think they've got like lots of stuff that they're doing. She's with her Love and Justice crew.
That's right.
Yeah.
Different flavor of magical girl.
Very different. Where do we even start?
At the beginning, let's start with Buddy's book.
Okay.
I really liked this episode. I thought this was just a funny little way to do things. I loved parking Lion and then locking Lion. Boop, boop. Oh, that's so funny.
It is adorable. And yeah, again, it's kind of a nice, well, I would say it was a nice break from the feels, but we get those again later on. But this episode in particular was a nice little adventure. It kind of a little bit of a throwback to the way Steven Universe used to be before stuff got real.
Yeah.
And where it's just these two kids having fun hanging out together, and letting their imaginations run wild. But at the same time, we still get like little snippets of gem lore. We get that picture in the book that is very reminiscent of Blue Diamond's.
It is Blue Diamond's thing.
Exactly.
Like he found it.
Which
that was the site.
She was on Earth at one point, apparently.
Yeah, we got that flashback during The Answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they'd come to Earth for peace talks, and it was an ambush.
It's different than actually her stepping foot onto the planet. It's one thing to like hang out in a ship above Earth. It's a completely different thing to go down there and be like, okay, I'm gonna take care of business.
They were actually on Earth, though. She was there.
Didn't they fall like from space?
Ruby? No, they were on a platform, but they were still on the planet.
Sure, they were just on a spaceship.
They did not fall out of a spaceship. They were on the planet.
Let us know what you think. Were they on a spaceship or were they actually setting foot on the Earth at that point? That being said, yeah, we see obviously that something happened, clearly.
That's a thing. And I liked that the moral of the story, I suppose, one is read more books. Come on, guys, read. It's good for you.
This is a library. People are trying to study. I know, right? Isn't it so fun?
Yeah, and it just, wow, there goes my brain. It's been a day, you guys.
So
We've
morals,
only just gotten started.
Read more?
Read more, and just because you're not the first person to see something doesn't mean it's not special to you or to the person that you pass it on to. Because the point was, yeah, you may not have been the first person to see it, but you've seen it in a new light. You've seen it in a new way because no one has the same point of view that you do. And so you passing it on may make a difference to someone else. It doesn't matter if someone's already drawn art with that concept or written that novel or written that movie or whatever. Do it anyway because your take will be different.
Well, that and we see that in terms of not only in the point of view that Buddy has as he's going on this adventure, but of the point of view of the kids had reading his story, because the way they perceive the events as he's recorded them are very different than what he actually experienced.
Yeah, well, they also are perceiving Jamie because he's being so dang dramatic.
I'm picturing Jamie being sad.
I love that version so much. And Kat Denning in chat says they were not on a spaceship.
Someone said Sky Coliseum. Okay.
That's still on the planet.
Okay. It's been a while since when did the answer air? In January?
Yeah, it's been a long
forgive
time.
me for
It's
not
nominated
having
for an Emmy.
Yay! Forgive me for not having brushed up on episodes that aired half a year ago.
Yeah.
Because the Stephen bomb just knocked us flat.
Oh my God, the Stephen nuke was. Oh,
Yep.
I'm still recovering, you guys.
Yep, and so many feelings.
Yes.
But yeah, the way that, and I think there's a lot to be said about the way we get remembered too, because that's Buddy's quest. Is he wants to be remembered? What is his legacy going to be? And
It's
by
all
going,
very Hamilton.
yeah.
Why do you write like you're running out of time, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, he goes on this adventure and he ends up being remembered not for having gone on this adventure, but what he did with his life afterwards. It was going on this adventure and meeting Rose where he found his true calling.
Yeah, he became an author and then he founded a library.
Yep,
So,
and that is how he is remembered.
So yeah, definitely a legacy
tells
thing.
your story.
Yeah. What
We're
I'd be
sticking with
interested
Hamilton.
to see is that he found the journal. It's got everything in it. They didn't go all the way to the end. There's still
there's lots more.
stuff in there.
You know, I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't a hand on the journal. I miss cartoons about journals with six-fingered hands on them.
Wrong network.
I know. I just miss it.
But yeah, it just a lot of this was again going over a lot of stuff that we've already seen, but from a very different perspective. And I loved it. Rose with her random pride of lions
Which
was interesting.
more than one
Cat Lady
lion.
Rose. Cat Lady Rose. I'm gonna go with that. Cat Lady
You know,
Rose.
It's funny. It never occurred to me that she would have more than one. And I would love to know a little bit more about her kinship with these creatures.
Well, and someone pointed out to me that the kids are imagining them as normal lions. They might have all been pink lions. We don't know.
They might have.
It just said 7 lions.
Yeah, and to touch on that in terms of the way the kids were interpreting it, can we talk about the gems in this story?
Happy. Oh my God! With the they'd look different back then, wouldn't they? Immediate costume change. I've watched the episode 3 times, and them just riding away on the giant bicycle gets me every single time.
Oh, Pearl with her little curls.
With the ringlets, I can't. It's so great. I'm just very happy.
And even Garnet with the old-timey glasses is really, really cool looking. And you were saying while we were watching it that you couldn't wait to see cosplayers take on these costumes.
I know. I'm sure someone already has one made. It's been 2 weeks. There's 3 big conventions this weekend. I'm sure there will be at least one person in at least one old-timey Crystal Gem costume at some convention. I'm laying my money on Dragon Con for this one. Let's be real.
So out of the costume changes, which one was your favorite?
Oh my God. I just love the... Probably Garnet. I just loved how it was put together. I'm not over the ringlets on Pearl, let's be real, but probably Garnet.
Garnet and Pearl both looked fantastic. I gotta give this one to Amethyst, though. I am a sucker for double-breasted jackets.
That's true. And Amethyst being Amethyst. Drop by anytime. Just not too soon.
Well, and something I didn't pick up on the first time we watched the episode, or even the first time we watched the episode about the No Homeboys, was her referring to, you know, her surroundings as family.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something I didn't necessarily think about, but it's like, oh yeah, the gems are actually rocks. duh. Of course she would think of if she was alone, she would think of other rocks as her family. I'm a dummy.
I just loved Pearl marking off all the places he shouldn't go, and then Garnet very, very explicitly telling him to go there.
Do
like,
it.
All
Do
I
it.
could hear was the Lion King, only the bravest of lions go there. I'm like, and there he goes.
Well, I'm brave.
Oh, I know. I don't do a very good Jeremy Irons, so...
Only Jeremy Irons can.
Only Jeremy Irons does... Well, Jeremy Irons and Jim Cummings. Jim
there you
Cummings
go.
does a good Jeremy Irons.
There you go.
For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about.
We can't all be Jim Cummings, Katie.
We can't all be Jim Cummings. Jim Cummings does the last verse of Be Prepared. After the key change, it's him.
A little bit of movie trivia that will probably never win you anything.
It might. Disney trivia contests are cutthroat, man.
Maybe.
You think I'm kidding.
You will become king of the internet message board if you drop that mic.
Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, to get back to the episode, this I love Garnet, and this is one of the reasons why everybody thought Garnet was the cool mom for a long time, is that she is very big on people going out and trying new things. And again, I think having future vision helps. Is like she can see how this could benefit this person for the better. Or
she can also see the potential train wreck.
Either way, I'm sure it's interesting.
Well, he might die in a desert, but that's a chance I'm willing to take.
Well, and it's also very interesting seeing Gems interact with people prior to Rose getting really invested and creating a family. So it would be kind of fun to go back throughout different periods of history, and especially in this AU history that's been set up, and just see the Gems inserted into, I don't know, the Revolutionary War, see them inserted into, just different eras, and just being detached, but still, wagging their fingers. Don't go there. It's too dangerous.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Just like, okay, that means I'm going there. Thank you. Wait, what?
Or don't go there. Wink.
Yeah. So many winks. All right. Do we have any final thoughts on Buddy's book?
Just like all the cool little character stuff aside, I just really like the idea of like you have this idea of what these characters are for a book that you're reading. And this is something everybody can identify with, is you have this idea of the story that you're reading in your head, and that can be very different from what the author intended or the reality of the situation, but that's okay. You can still go, no, I like my version better, and that's all right. That's just fine.
Oh, this is a comment I love from Paul Vita. Pearl has always been super white man's burden towards humanity in general. Dang!
Speaking of mic drop.
What a good reference. Wow!
I love that. That's fantastic.
I'm impressed.
Oh, keep them coming,
Wow,
Chad. That was great.
I don't think we've talked about white man's burden since the Doctor Who Classics after show, and that was like 2 years ago. Man,
Because I feel like most of the shows we cover now are a little bit more sensitive
Modern.
about those particular issues.
have been made within the past 10 years.
Oh Lord.
For the most part. Yeah, it's what happens when you cover a show from the 60s.
Love classic Who, but it is a product of its time.
Oh, it seriously is. It really is. Oh my God. Yeah, so that was incredible, and I am willing to leave Buddy's journal there and move on to the next
But
one.
Gems in Time.
I can't top that, and I'm not gonna try.
Nope.
Let's talk about mindful education. Let's talk
Are we
about what is
emotionally prepared for this?
No, but we're doing it anyway.
Okay.
That's how we live our lives.
Okay.
I feel like this is the best one that we got out of this session of 3.
Absolutely. 100%.
This was an incredible episode. This, as you pointed out, it explained what happened during the race when they started seeing the road disappear behind them and all that.
Yeah,
Like,
it was.
did we just lose our minds?
It was cool for them to sort of plant that seed back in that episode, and what we kind of thought was like a filler. And Steven Universe does this all the time, especially in the earlier episodes. It'll plant a seed, and then you'll only see the relevance of that later on. And that was a great way to provide this setup. for these hallucinations and to work through the emotional issues and the emotional consequences that are presented in this show, because so many shows, don't like doing the actions have consequences thing. And here, we don't just sweep them under the rug. The things that happened mattered and have an effect on our protagonist, a profound effect on our protagonist.
And I love that we kind of got into, I hesitate to say that we started with a small problem, because it was a big problem for Connie, but it was a little less world ending. That she was upset that she'd bumped into someone and her combat instincts kicked in and she basically wrecked him.
Well, and that's something that people who do take self-defense classes, that is a danger.
Yeah.
Like, I've talked to people who've taken, who are black belts, and they've definitely said, you have to be hyper aware of what you're doing, because those reflexes can kick in,
and you can kill a man,
and you can seriously hurt somebody. And for a kid who hasn't been taught that level of restraint, who's been taught the skills but not the restraint, it's very understandable to see this as a situation. And yeah, it's a good thing that the kid wasn't hurt worse, but but like, and again, because the gems are, I guess, a little bit more detached from humanity, it never occurred to them that was restraint was necessary.
They may not even have that issue.
Yeah, exactly.
So who even knows? But yeah, so we have that kind of, we have the microcosm, and then we have Stephen with the macrocosm. And Stephen advising Connie to go, well, just don't think about it. That's how I deal with it. I'm like, oh, avoidance therapy. That's super helpful.
And repressed.
I love Garnet just saying, hold the phone. Now give the phone to me.
That was, again,
another good line.
Another great callback, because that's what Stephen said, like, way back when Greg was singing about Lapis Lazuli being a witch. He's like, whoa, hold the phone. Now give the phone to me.
I did not remember that, really?
Yeah, that was a callback line.
I was just sitting there going, oh, that's a real good line.
Because everybody loves a callback.
Everybody loves a callback.
But
do we still have to pay her? Okay.
But yeah, and what I loved that those two sort of levels of the issues that we're dealing with are represented with these butterflies. These butterflies are representing these thoughts. Mm-hmm. And we see that with Ruby and Sapphire, where we have, Ruby is consumed by this one thought and it drives her crazy. It makes her cry. Whereas Sapphire's overwhelmed by this gigantic swarm. And that's what we get later on in the episode. We have Connie dealing with the one butterfly. And then, granted, swarm and everything like that. And it was beautiful, BT dubs.
Oh my gosh.
But then, Stephen is the swarm that we have to deal with later. And it was just so beautifully done. I think this is the most symbolic that Steven Universe has ever been.
I disagree. I think we went there a little bit in Chillited, and I think we went there in a few other places.
This one had a musical number.
Wow, because that's unique for Steven Universe. The musical number, I've seen people discussing it, and they say that sort of meditation, what's described in that song, is actually a really good way for dealing with intrusive thoughts. Because a lot of people have intrusive thoughts where they just get something stuck in their head and they can't get around it, and sometimes they're violent, and sometimes they're self-destructive, and sometimes they're just depressing. And that this song is pretty much a step-by-step for how to deal with stuff like that. Yeah. And I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, and again, it's that thing that literally everybody has to deal with. Everybody can be consumed by one thought, or everybody can be overwhelmed by this magnitude. Everybody, especially growing up and especially being a kid, there's so much that can overwhelm you, and there's so much that can consume you, even though it's just one thing.
Yeah.
And so it's a wonderful way to see a show for children saying it's okay, take a step back, it's okay to feel these things.
Yeah. And that trying to repress them and saying, no, I don't feel it, or no, I don't want to think about it, is not a good way to deal with it. Because you hide enough of those away and eventually they just explode. And that's what we see. Because after Connie has dealt with things and talked with Jeff, the kid's name is Jeff, the picture is of him with his arm in a sling, like, yep, that sounds about right. And it's like, this is the, middle school male mentality. This girl just beat me up. That was amazing. Can you show me how to do that? Oh my God.
Show me how to be destructive too.
I'm in an action movie. This is so cool. Like, I am not at all surprised that that was how that conversation went. Like, you beat me up. That was awesome.
Well, isn't it a shonen trope where, guys, they just beat each other up and then they're friends?
Yeah, kind of.
That is not a good shonen trope, BT dubs.
There's a lot of shonen tropes that are just like, ugh. Points to most of Sword Art Online, walks away.
Although, speaking of kind of anime and anime tropes, what a beautiful homage to Miyazaki's Spirited Away towards the end of the episode when they're falling.
And holding each other's hands, and it's just like, yep, nope, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, and I'm gonna lie here and die. This is so great.
And Spirited Away is my favorite Miyazaki movie, so, oh man, my feelings.
Ugh, so good. But yeah, this is Steven trying to deal with Bismuth and with Jasper and with Eyeball, that he tried to help all of them and they would not accept it. And that's also Three Gems who saw him as Rose.
Mm-hmm. So there's that omnipresent,
Mom.
Like, what about Mom? Oh boy, those feelings are complicated.
And that's exactly what I was thinking of. Steven floats just like that. Nope. Does Mom make me happy? Nope.
I'd rather not think about that.
Not
Repressed.
Yep.
But talk about something that could seriously give you a lot of issues. Like, you think you have parent issues now, try actually being the embodiment of said former parent.
You literally have a piece of your mom in you and no one can see past that. Like, that's a little weird.
That's
a little messed up.
I mean, because a lot of people have, to deal with living in their parents' shadow. It's a completely different thing.
People think that you are your parents.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough right there.
Yeah.
But I really think we needed this episode because it didn't necessarily feel like it because all of those episodes happened in very quick succession with one another because of the Stephen Nuke that we had. But all of that happened within the span of probably about 24 hours for him? Maybe I think between Jasper, Bismuth, and Eyeball, I don't know, maybe there was a week or so between Jasper and Bismuth.
Bismuth, we had Nightfall. Jasper, we had, I want to say, a day at least. And we also had Nightfall during Kindergarten Kid afterwards. So I would give it maybe, if we assume that there are no breaks in time, I'd give it a week at the most.
But I mean, in terms of like those events, like concurrent with one another, because as soon as the Jasper thing was resolved, we went straight back into the rubies being back on Earth, and then getting launched into the vacuum of space. And yeah, we've had a little bit of time to recover from that, but you still got launched into the vacuum of space and had to kill someone. Three very traumatic experiences happening in very quick succession of one another, and not knowing how to deal with it. And I don't think any of the gems know he's had to deal with that either, because Steven's so positive and happy all the time that it probably didn't occur to them that anything was even wrong.
And repressed. And there's also the idea that Steven is a child and none of the gems were ever children.
Yep.
And so
gems just are.
Yeah, and so not quite getting that mentality, not quite understanding how that works. Like, I feel like that still factors into a lot of this. And I feel like that's also why Stefani kind of went over a cliff in this episode. Like, they've got it. Oh, whoops.
Well, and
we made a mistake.
To be fair, the gems aren't exactly the best at dealing with their own emotional issues either.
Yeah. Nerdy Guy points out that it is a lot of the time you forget that Steven's dealing with this because he tries so hard to make everyone else happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's that guy.
We've said it time and time again. He's a very empathetic character with a huge emotional intelligence. And from the start of the series, he's always been focused on making other people happy and fixing, and even in the episode we get afterwards, like, he wants to fix other people's problems.
I mean, let's be real. Steven is not combat class. Steven is support class. He has a shield. He's basically a bard. Like he's not going to be out there on the front lines leading the fight. That's not what he does. That's why he has the gems. That's why he has Connie. He wants to help people. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that just don't get that.
But
admittedly, that's a rant that came from somewhere else, but I think it applies. You expect this warrior thing, and then it's like, no, he's not one.
No. And at the same time, you get so, and this is the thing again too, that like a lot of people have to deal with. You get so focused on trying to fix, your friends who are sad, or like trying to fix this one thing in your life that is causing problems, that you forget to kind of introspect a little bit. And yeah, he's just been sweeping things under the rug, and it's only after
there is no more room under the rug.
Yeah, there's
like this.
For one, there's no more room under the rug, and two, Connie tripped over the rug on her way in.
Yeah,
and made him have to acknowledge, oh no, there's a rug there.
I thought we had hardwood. It's just laminate. Yeah. I just want to point out a few of the small details. I love that Stefani floats by doing the Yoshi jump.
I know, it's straight out of Super Smash Brothers. It was adorable.
That makes me happy. I love Soccer Mom Garnet and the sign. I love how
it's
enthused she gets.
Sign.
It's a fusion sign.
Well, and
it's all the little details in this. We have the very hard-hitting emotional stuff, and we also have just the little tiny things that I love so much.
Yeah, and to talk about, when was the last time we heard Estelle sing?
It's been a while.
And granted, this is because the last time we heard her, I think, was a little bit in Life and Death and Love and Birth and Peace and Love on the Planet Earth. But but before that, I think the last time that she had a song was Stronger Than You.
Yeah, and I think we've just outstripped Stronger Than You, and I didn't think that was possible.
I still have a preference for Stronger Than You because they're two very different types of songs.
That's
One is
true.
like a triumphant, higher energy song. This is way more tranquil.
Yes.
And but that being said, and we get to hear Stefani sing for the first time.
Yes.
It was a lovely duet.
So basically this episode was glorious and it makes us cry, but we really love it.
It was fantastic. And and I just want to say that hearing Steven cry, I didn't want to hurt anybody, just destroyed me. And it it destroys me whenever I rewatch this episode. I'm like,
it's like,
feelings.
no, I'm just gonna lie here. That's all. I'm just gonna lie here. Just nope. We're done. Good evening. Let's talk about future Boy Zoltron.
Can I have my quarterback?
If I had a quarter for every time someone wanted their quarterback. Oh, wait, I do. That's Colton Dunn. I didn't know until I checked the credits tonight. That's Colton Dunn.
I had no idea that was Colton. Oh, that's hilarious.
So dumb. But now that I know, it's like, oh, yeah.
For those who don't know who Colton is, he is a comedian. He's on a lot of television shows, but he's also in Laser Team.
He's on Superstore right now.
He's on Superstore right now. But yeah, Laser Team is for anybody who knows how many of the Rooster Teeth shows we cover.
All of them.
Not all of them, but quite a few.
Just the ones with plot.
But yeah, Colton's a really funny guy, and so it makes a lot of sense that he would be a character who is a former comedian.
This episode also just wiped me out.
Yeah.
Like, it was good, it was funny, this is great, and then it's like, oh, this went places I was not expecting.
Yeah, and I had to say for a moment, I thought they were going to go a lot darker than they actually did.
A lot of people in chat were saying that too. I'm really glad that they didn't touch on that because that's dark even for Steven Universe.
Just like, was it a mistake coming here? I was like, what is he? No, show. Don't you do that to me. Don't you dare.
And poor Steven getting all these. I wrote down the questions and then I wrote down the answers. But my notes for this are mostly just writing down dialogue because the dialogue was so good. Mm-hmm. Where is it? Was it a mistake to come here? Will talking to him make any difference at all? Tell me the truth. Do I really just drive everyone around me away? And the answers are Funland is good for everyone. human emotions are complicated, and then falling back on the your lucky numbers are 16, 47, and W.
Please come back later.
He's not equipped to handle the heavy stuff.
You know what this was? This was the equivalent of, in the Peanuts comics.
Lucy
having her little psychiatrist, little setup, and having a person with severe issues come in and be like, okay, we're going to sit down, and just having this small child just inch further and further into their chair behind the thing.
Well, I also really liked that. For most of it, Stephen was using his knowledge of the town, because no one seemed to get that was Stephen in there, despite the fact that they are very familiar with Stephen's antics. Question mark?
Well, they're very familiar with Stephen's meddling in their relationships. In some cases, for the most part, he played this very well. But when Sadie and Lars were talking to him, I was like, Stephen, be careful.
I was waiting for something to happen, and then it was like, oh no, we stayed away from the. That's good.
You've played this game, and you know this doesn't end well.
But he learned from it.
He did.
And it wasn't, you should be together. It was, Lars actually likes doing a good job, and Sadie is impressed with his efforts. Like, this is truths, but you're never going to say it because everyone's too tsundere to do anything about it.
Is it weird that it knows our names?
I wrote that down. I love it so much. Let's just go to work.
And I gotta say, I know that Lars is one of the least liked characters on this show, but in this moment, just him and Sadie, debating about whether or not to play hooky, it's like, yeah, no, I get why you two are friends, and I get why you two should like each other, and why, if you were to ever become a couple, why that would work.
I also get why it's complicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's just, and again, just using his knowledge of everyone around. Your dad may seem stuck in his ways, but he loves you. You're both right. You both need your own rooms. Just stuff like that was
and Kofi going, no, you don't.
No, not happening.
But yeah, and he knows that sisters need time apart.
Oh yeah, and my favorite gag was Onion walking up with a crowbar. If you're not careful, I see prison bars in your future. So Onion comes back with a ski mask on. That was my favorite little gag in this episode, aside from turning the frown upside down, which just killed me.
I was gonna say, there's we talked about how Stephen likes making other people happy, and for the first time I saw a lot of Stephen in Mr. Smiley. And a lot of this set of episodes that we've gotten this summer has been dedicated to rounding out the characters of Beach City. And so I'll be honest, I was never expecting for Mr. Smiley to get any development. And
no, because Mr. Smiley's just the guy who owns too many businesses
in weeks
and is trying to make ends meet, and you always feel really bad for him. And Stephen is a thorn in his side without really meaning to be.
I just don't want to get banned from any more of your establishments.
And just Mr. Frowny showing up, asking all these questions that Stephen is in no way prepared to answer. Borrowing Garnet's future vision. Can I borrow your future vision? I want to help some random stranger I just met. That seems like an appropriate use of my power. Try to be home before dinner.
He's ready to talk to you now. But this was an emotional gut punch too, because people dwell a lot on when you do make mistakes, or when you do try to help someone and it doesn't work out, you dwell a lot on well, I could have said this, I should have done this, I should have done this. In this scenario, Stephen is presented with all of those possibilities, and there is no good answer for this person, because he's just so his worldview is so warped that no matter what Stephen would say, it would have just turned into this never-ending spiral of sorrow no matter what.
And that happened both times, where there was just no good answer that Stephen could see, but we also know that future vision is fallible.
Exactly.
And Stephen is not experienced and obviously doesn't have the full package. He's using the trial version. It's going to expire in a couple of hours.
Well, and this guy has no emotional connection to said robot.
Yeah.
It came to life!
Yeah, so that's another thing. That's another reason that Stephen was working at a disadvantage, because he didn't know this guy. Everyone else, he could use previous knowledge and make it look like, oh, hey, I know what's best for this. I can see the future. And this one's just like,
Come back later.
Smiley and Frowny, just Harold Smiley and Quentin Frowny. Oh, and the little comedy routine, oh my gosh.
And this is what I mean about, like, I see a lot of Steven in Mr. Smiley, because Mr. Smiley spent a long time trying to make this very sad person not be sad anymore. And sometimes you can pull someone out of a funk like that, but there are some times where there is literally nothing you can do.
And sometimes people are just like that. What I got from a lot of this dialogue was, you said you were always trying to make him happy. Did he even know he was making you sad? And I wanted you to take the act seriously. Well, I wanted you to have fun. It's approaching it from two very different viewpoints and never really taking a step back and trying to see the other person's viewpoint, because you can see where you're from just fine and you don't get why they're not on your wavelength. And you can be great friends and still just be like, I see it here. Where the heck are you?
And yeah, having two completely different conversations, even though, you know, you're reading from a script.
And I mean, we've known each other for years and we do this.
We do that all the time.
I am extrovert forever. And it's just like, well, we can do that. I just don't. Well, what about it? This happens a lot in real life.
Yup.
And it's a matter of trying to see it from another person's point of view and meeting them halfway and understanding that they're not always going to be up for what you want to do. They're not always going to see what you see. They're not always going to want to do the same thing. That doesn't mean you can't be friends. I mean,
yeah,
friends.
And again, if you meet somewhere in the middle, maybe you can finally get the joke.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just them doing that routine was like, I'm dying, but this is wonderful.
Frown upside down. You're ruining the bit.
I would watch that whole routine. That is just simple, fun comedy like
and
that.
And even just the quick moment, you know, they're on the sidewalk, but it fades to the stage for just a moment. And it's just like, and, you know, Steven can see why they worked as a comedy duo.
Oh, yeah.
And why they worked as friends. And then just, you know, cutting back to where they are on the sidewalk all those years later. And it's just like,
and I think that's the first time in a while that they've seen eye to eye. And so Mr. Frowny doesn't stick around, but this show doesn't waste characters.
No, I mean, I was not expecting any development from Mr. Smiley, and I was not expecting an episode where Steven hops into the carnival robot from Big,
like tells people
their fortunes. I was not expecting that episode to. I'm just not expecting Steven Universe to give multiple gut punches in a row. I'm used to some breaks, and this entire summer has just been multiple gut punches.
Well, and see, this is why I'm glad they've started spacing them out week by week by week again.
Yep.
Because if we'd had Mindful Education and Future Boy Zoltron back to back in 2 days, I'd be done.
I'm trying not to cry right now.
On the floor. So I sincerely hope that we will stick with a week to week to week schedule. And I realize that 12 minutes a week is not a lot of content, but it's so dense and there's so much in it that 12 minutes a week is sometimes about all we can handle. We are way beyond the days of cheeseburger backpack.
Cheeseburger backpack, cheeseburger backpack.
Yeah,
I might go watch that.
I know, right? We are so past that at this point. So yeah, breathing is good. Do we have any final thoughts on these episodes? Kind of a short after show, but
just quit kicking my heart in the crotch show. Quit kicking my heart.
Yeah, we watched the latest SAO abridged. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Do we have any new iTunes reviews?
When was the last time we read them? Because I've got reviews from July 26th and 27th up
second week of August.
Oh, okay. Here we go. August 2nd. Is that where I should start?
After that.
Yeah. Okay. Best podcast ever. Here we go.
Yay.
You guys are great by
Phenomena.
lots of letters.
You get a shout out if we can read your name.
CNIRJVIIDHC. Most of my friends are into Steven Universe fandom, but they are too lazy to listen to podcasts. You know, I might have read this one last time, but I'm going to read it again.
Probably.
Which makes no sense because I was watching this chilling in bed. This is my first and favorite out of all 12 podcasts I listened to. Don't judge, I have no life. I definitely have read this one. We still love you.
Yes, we
just
adore
keep
you.
doing what you do and making Beach City weird. Also, Noise Magazine is great from the Lars episode. Enjoyed the podcast/YouTube show from Alice Soul 21. Keep this show going. These ladies are doing an amazing job. I enjoy their thoughts on the show. They have a good vibe about them. Perfect.
Aww.
Oh, I know. Perfect. We actually have quite a few. Perfectly
Gracious.
executed and hilariously fun from Shrimp Special. Anyone who watches Steven Universe will love this podcast. It's funny, thoughtful, and I've had a lot of fun listening in. This podcast is a work of meep morp. 5 stars by Butt 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 2 6 3 6 2 0.
Gracious, you guys.
I love AfterBuzz TV after shows, and when I discovered there was a Steven Universe one, I was so happy. Love listening to everyone's analysis of the show, opinions, and predictions. Hopefully there are many more podcasts to come. Steven Universe and anime references by Earl of the Grey Wind. I like that. Yeah. Hello, ladies. I absolutely love this podcast. After I got really into SU, I started looking for a podcast for it. After trying some others out, I found this gem. You really understand and connect with the show and what it's really about while finding and discussing the parallels between the characters and story and real life. You really take the time to look at each character's emotions and growth as well, which is very important to a show like this. I am very proud to say that I am an avid old school anime fan and understand pretty much every reference you make. Wonderful Evangelion opening intro for Kiki's pizza delivery service. Keep up the good work. Fantastic discussion by Chitwoodcat.
We're starting to run out of time.
I know, we just got a few more.
Guys.
The hosts have interesting insights and good jokes. We got jokes. It is wonderful to hear a thoughtful discussion of a show that I love. You might not find... sorry, I put it far too far away and I realized I need glasses. It is wonderful to hear a thoughtful discussion of a show that I love. You might not find other adults to talk to about the metaphors or characterization of a cartoon, but with this podcast, you are in good company. Thank you for the talks and the laughs. Oh, couldn't be better by SGT Stutter.
You want me to give you a breather?
Whew, no, I'm good. This is the first podcast series I've ever listened to, and it's great. I love hearing you guys discuss each episode and share your thoughts about them. I love hearing things I've never thought about or things I've never even noticed. You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing. Perfect for SU fans by Narcissus Jones. Huh, that's an interesting username. I love the podcast. I'm new to it, but it's exactly what I've been looking for. These three have great insight into Steven Universe and frame their thoughts in interesting ways. Lots of fun. You guys are the best.
Holy cow, you guys are amazing.
God. Like, I am out of breath and also emotionally spent.
Verklempt.
Thank you.
Verklempt.
I am.
We have another show after this, and we're both just like,
it's just the vapors. It's fine. It's fine.
I need my fan.
I'm not crying. I just have something in my eye. Tears.
Catherine in the chat asking if anyone else is planning on a Steven Universe Voltron AfterBuzz double feature. Well, I don't know about you guys, but we are.
Science fiction double feature.
I literally tweeted that earlier this afternoon.
I saw.
Yeah, so if you want to keep this after show on the air, the best thing you can do to help us out is go to iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe, tell the people how much you like this podcast, because our producers look at iTunes reviews and they go, hey, they really like these people talking about this show. We should keep doing this. And then we get a time slot and we get to talk about shows, and it's wonderful. So, and of course you get a shout out on the show if we can pronounce your name.
If not, we'll just spell
We tried, y'all. We tried. All right, any final thoughts?
Just, I'm still verklempt. These were great. These were great episodes, and it was great talking about them.
These were wonderful, and I adored them, and I cannot wait for this month's slew of episodes and to talk about it in the first week of October.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna lie down in a corner and cry. after.
You can't. We have a show after this. All right,
just hide
Megan,
under the
where can
table.
the people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. I just did an I Talk Movies about the indie film Summer of 8. Be sure to check that out. And I also write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
You can find Emma Fife on Twitter at EMMAFYFFE. Those are all F's as in Frank, as opposed to any other letter that sounds like F. She is currently at Salt Lake City Comic Con. So if you guys are there this weekend, she's there with her Love and Justice peeps. She has 5 panels.
She's a busy
Emma
girl.
does everything. Emma does everything. Go say hi. It'll be wonderful. I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and YouTube at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. I am also on Snapchat at Kia Prime. Big thing is we have Voltron next. We actually have a special guest, so stay tuned. It's going to be super fun. The rest of my shows are coming back in 2 weeks, so that's going to be crazy. And we will see you back here the first Thursday of October to talk about the new episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight, and we will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Human emotions are complicated.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.